Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
It is me, and glad that you are you and you're with us. And when I say us, I'm talking about Chris Williams and Milan Yerkovich. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Steve, hi. It's great to be on with you. We always love doing shows together, and thanks for having us on with you.
Yes, and you're welcome, and I love doing it with you. And to that end, let's just get with it, and let's go right to the phone.
Wow, let's do it.
How about this? Let's talk with Conrad from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Conrad, how are you today? What's going on?
Hello, how are you?
Excellent. Yeah, thank
you. First of all, I know you're not on live on Sirius XM 131.
Yeah, we just were on just a few minutes ago live on Sirius XM, and now this is the program we tape right after that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was listening, and I wanted to mention something first before I ask my question. I wanted to mention there was one guy that called in, and then also a lady that called in. The last guy that called in and the lady that called in before him about her sons and her husband.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to recommend a book. You guys may be familiar with it, Wild at Heart.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. John Eldridge. We love
John. I think that would be a phenomenal. Yes, John Eldridge. I think that would be a powerful book for the lady and her sons, and also for the young man that called in, the last guy that called in as well.
Great. How can we help you?
Okay, I'm calling in reference to a friend of mine. His wife, they were having some problems, and his wife left, and there was really some serious stuff that went on. She said she's done. And he's at a point where he can't move on. He says, I'm locked at this point. I'm in prison. I can't get out. It's all her fault, and I'm going to kill myself. But that's something he's been saying for a while now, of course, because I think his ways of trying to manipulate her.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that 100%, but anyway, he's taking it really hard, and he's really dealing with some things personally, and I'm losing weight. Does she understand I'm dying? Things like that.
Okay.
What can I do? What can I do to help him? First of all, I gave him your number, have him call you guys,
mm-hmm.
and he said he did speak to somebody, but it's something about they didn't get back to him or something. But I'm wondering, what is it that I can do to try to help him progress?
Okay. Milan, you want to start us off there?
Conrad, thank you for your call. It's a great call because we need to ask ourselves, how do we help our friends who are in distress? And all of us are in that situation. All of us have friends that aren't doing well. And I appreciate that you want to be a part of his life and that you want to try to help him. And did you say he was in prison?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
Emotional prison from her.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
The very first thing that needs to happen is he needs to get in with a counselor and somebody that understands grief and trauma, who can help him begin to talk, because anger oftentimes is stored up energy and frustration. And I love a statement you made earlier where you said he can be manipulative, and so this is what she is perhaps running from and trying to get away from. But we'll come back after this break and tell you a little bit more, but that would be important a place to start.
I came into this thinking
that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop is coming to Washington, D.C. June 28th to the 30th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Milan and Yerkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship. And then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or go to newlife.com.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here, and right now we are talking with Conrad. He's got a friend, and his friend is in trouble and really kind of doing that learned helplessness thing that we've talked about here so often. Milan, go ahead there with
Well,
Conrad.
I was simply saying that, there's a lot of things, deep things that are going on here. He might succeed in his hunger strike. I don't know, but if this is a situation where there's more going on that meets the eye, which you already alluded to. That's why I said you need to get him into a therapist, and he needs to decide that he wants to go to someone who understands trauma and chaotic attachment and understands that a lot of times we are simply in relationship living out life in such a way that we leave a wake of devastation behind us. And how do we repair from that? Chris, you had some ideas on that.
Yeah, well, Conrad, it sounds like your friend, as we said, learned helpless. And this is a person who has a card in their back pocket called the victim card.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the winning formula, and it's the way that they control the world around them, is that if I can place myself in the victim position, then I don't have to take responsibility. It's everyone else's fault, and I don't have to do anything. But the victim has only two possible relationships in the world, and that is to a rescuer or to a perpetrator. Now, Conrad, here's the trick. If you're in relationship with a victim and you're not rescuing them in the way they want you to rescue them, then you're automatically a perpetrator, meaning that he'll turn against you. And so I say that because what you need with your friend is boundaries. You need to know that there is a limitation to how much you can help him. You can't help him more than he is willing to get the help.
Yes.
And so continuing to point him in the right direction, and I think one of the things that's difficult with a person like this is being a truth teller, but that is what your friend needs. He needs a truth teller with boundaries. Now truth, it comes with a lot of grace as well. There's a lot of empathy for where he's at. But again, continuing to point him into the direction of professional help and protecting yourself from being sucked into his victim world.
Okay. And also, he does have a past, also some painful experiences in his past.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, his mom dying. If I recall something about his mother when she died, how she died, and just various things there.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why he needs professional help.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I hope that's helpful to you. And, we want to help people, but sometimes if we feed into learned helplessness, we can become part of the problem. And the only person then that needs help is us. It just drains everything out of us and doesn't help the other person. So it's always very, very tricky. Glad that you called, Conrad. Let's go to Nicole, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, listens online. Hi there.
Hi. I've been struggling for a long time here. I've been married for 12 years, and 2 years ago, I caught my husband on pornography.
I'm sorry.
And I didn't get to really see exactly what he was looking at. He got it away from me, but he proclaimed that he was saved, and he was just happy that I was going to stay with him, and he didn't even feel a temptation to do it anymore. But at the time, he said to me that he's had a problem with this for years. And we have a daughter, a disabled daughter that's 11 years old, and she has no communication. Her intellectual disability is really low. She's still in diapers. And I worry about that. And one other thing is I found out that 3 years before I got married to him, I wasn't with him, and he approached his daughter and had his daughter watch videos with him about a father-daughter intimate relationship, and then asked her to perform something to him, and she didn't. But she came to me and she told me about it, and I told him, and he just was like, he didn't know why he did that. It was 3 years before we ever met, and so I'm so
Okay,
scared
so
and nervous.
so what is the question for us then?
Like, what am I supposed to do? Should I seek counseling for myself, or I don't see him really doing, anything about it, like counseling or anything. He's always on his phone. He's always up at nights. I don't know what he's doing. I have a bad trust issue with it. Even though I don't say nothing to him about it, it's like, am I even supposed to stay with a man that does that?
Chris, what are you thinking here?
Oh, Nicole, I'm thinking a lot. There is a lot here, and I am scared, to be quite honest. I have a lot of fear for you and for your situation. Is he clearly to me displays denial for the problem. He doesn't have this problem his whole life. You catch him in a kind of situation, and then he no longer struggles. Well, listen. If he's a male at some level or another, he struggles. He's not honest with it. There's not transparent. He's hiding. He's isolated. And then we have a previous incident in which he was incredibly inappropriate, i.e., illegal,
and sick,
and demented with his own daughter.
An incestual relationship with his own daughter is tragic.
So we're putting together a pretty long list here of very, very dangerous, damaging patterns and behaviors that all lead up to one thing, and that right now, as it exists today, he is fundamentally unsafe. You do need protection, and your daughter needs protection.
Yeah. I mean, he will. Well, we're not intimate. He doesn't show like he's attracted to me in any kind of way. But, I mean, he's, besides that, he's a good supporter. He's not a mean person to me or anything like that. And like I said, I do have a handicapped daughter.
Yeah.
Is this handicapped daughter his daughter or yours?
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
Ours.
It's your together.
And she's developing. And she's developing, and she has no communication whatsoever. I mean, anything could be done to her. I always have her though. I don't even leave him watch her. I just do it myself, and it's very hard to do all on my own.
Well, Nicole, I want to break something. I want to break one of your bubbles. This is not he's not a nice guy. He's not a good supporter. I'm not here to run him through the mud. But if I have a handicapped daughter and I'm not doing anything to support my daughter, that does not make me a nice guy. There's nothing good.
Right.
There's nothing good about that. And so what I want to help you do is break through some of your own denials, kind of how you're minimizing his behavior. He's dangerous. He's not safe.
Yeah.
This is not a nice guy.
Yeah.
But you're
No.
stuck. But you're stuck.
Right. Yep, I'm stuck, and I just live with this
Well-
every single day.
Well, now hold on one second. The way you framed it means you're stuck. We don't think you're stuck, but the way you framed it, we don't have any sexual intimacy. I don't know what he does, but he's a great financial provider. He's a nice guy. He doesn't hurt me or anything. And with that criteria, you're basically saying, I need him to support me so I can take care of my daughter. And I would really.
That's exactly right.
Yes, and I'm saying.
That's exactly what I am thinking.
I know, and that's why I wanted to bring that out and just say I want to acknowledge the reality of that. Now, but you're not trapped. I really want you to consider talking to an attorney, explaining this history. I think you need to find out. Even I would call and get an opinion from Child Protective Services. And I don't know if the daughter ever filed a complaint toward her father.
No, she didn't.
Well,
she still stayed with them, and she loves them to death.
And how old is she now?
We see her. She's 29.
Okay.
We see a lot of her at the house and everything, and that's still another issue I have to worry about. It's like, how is he looking at her? What's he thinking?
You have to think those things because he's proven that he goes to those sordid and distorted and evil levels. So all I'm suggesting, Nicole, is you need to think, how can I protect myself? Like Chris said, and I would consult an attorney and just say, what can I do here? And that's the most important thing you can do.
Yeah.
I really think that given everything that's been said, Child Protective Services and an attorney are two people, two groups that need to be addressed, because it doesn't matter all this other stuff. There's a child. There's a person with needs that functions at a child level that really, really needs protection here. All right. I'm glad that you called. I'm going to send you Worthy of Her Trust. That's something you could give to him. And I would hope and pray that he might become the man that God has, the man that God's called him to be. All right, let's go to, how about we talk with Lorraine from Dallas, Texas. Hello, Lorraine. Welcome to New Life. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good. What's going on?
I received your CD, the Codependency by yourself, Milan and Stephen by yourself. And I have a question. Once I recognize that I have been codependent, and my husband is using crack cocaine, and he's in a outpatient because he wouldn't go to a inpatient rehab because he doesn't, that's another story. But anyway, he's in an outpatient type of situation here now, and I'm just wondering, what is by recognizing, by being codependent, what is my step towards being in this relationship? He is my husband, and just wanted to know how should I treat him, even though if I feel that he's still using. I'm not absolutely sure of that, but I just wanted to know to keep myself from being even more codependent, what should I do?
Well, what's it like living with him?
It's okay. I mean, it's just it's regular, just a regular deal I have. He's doing just a lot of the housework and chores and I asked him about testing, because he did say that they do tests randomly, and at one point he told me that he would let me know when they did that. And I also asked him if I wanted to test you myself, could I? And he told me at one point yes, but then later on he said, no, I didn't say that, I know. And so that conversation right there just made me wonder if he was still using. And but he's pitched in as far as doing a lot of the housework since I am working. And he said he's in the process of looking for a job that wouldn't interfere with his classes for the outpatient. And so.
Okay. Well, first thing is, are you going to any kind of meetings yourself?
Yes, I have attended like some online and some over-the-phone Al-Anon meetings. I also have gotten in contact with this church that we did our counseling with before we got married. They have an on the phone counseling sessions that hadn't started yet. So I am looking into some things for myself as well, and doing research and reading and listening to you all's tapes and books and that sort of thing.
All right. Well, we'll take this quick break, and we'll give you some help for this right after this. Glad you called.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here, Chris Williams, Milan Yerkovich, and Milan, you have a comment here for Lorraine that I think is very helpful.
Lorraine, I am super proud of you. Not because you just listened to a CD from Steve and me, but because you are taking it to heart and you're identifying a weakness in you. And it's not until we identify a weakness that we can start to grow. I'm super proud of you, and I just wanted to start right there. Secondly, what I really encourage you to do is Al-Anon, as you said it, but what you really need to be is you got to find a group where you can actually be with those people in person, not online, but you need to actually be in community and relationships so you can touch, feel, smell, taste, and watch and listen and feel the presence of other people, because for codependent, they need to develop an adult voice. They have to have opinions and be able to speak and tolerate the reactions that they get and allow people to react to what they say. And that's a part of having the adult voice and the ability to have the muscle with my mind and my voice to be able to set a boundary, as Chris was talking about, and also to be able to say no. And and I would do one other thing, Lorraine. If your husband is really clean, he would let you test.
Yes, that's what I thought too.
I agree with you.
Wouldn't even be an issue.
It wouldn't even be an issue. So I would insist on that and tell him that that is one of the things that you require.
And what's difficult about crack cocaine is it has what we call a short half-life, meaning it moves through the system very quickly. And so him being able to have random testing that he's not in control of is really important.
Okay.
Because he can, what we call flush the system really easily and show up clean within 24 to 48 hours of using. And so we don't want him to know too long ahead of time when he's and if he's testing.
Right.
And if he's home alone and you're working, he has a lot of room in his life to do whatever he wants with nobody looking at him and watching him. So I'm just simply saying it's a perfect scenario for him to continue to use and, like you were saying, Chris, misuse a system or take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you have children?
No.
Is this like a second marriage, Lorraine?
For him, yes, my first.
Okay. And you also have to decide, Lorraine, how hard of a stance you're going to take if he's not cooperative, and maybe even consider stepping away from him in this thing called separation for the purpose of reinforcing a boundary to say, I really mean business here, so much so that we're not going to live together, or you have to move out if it's your house, Lorraine, until you cooperate. And that's called a big fat boundary. You know, it's a great big one, Lorraine.
It is a big one.
But boy, it really, it says, but don't cross this line.
Right.
And it makes him sit up and say, since you're from Dallas, it makes him sit up and say howdy, you know, because he needs to do that.
And one other thing, you know, sometimes we have to go see a counselor, and then they really help you with a totally different strategy than you ever thought you might be open to, and that might be the next thing for you, is a new strategy, totally new strategy for you.
Thank you all for your help. I appreciate it.
Good call, Lorraine.
Right,
Thanks for
Take
calling.
Your Life Back. Hold on, I want to send you Take Your Life Back. It is our book on really codependency is how it started. It was entitled My Side of the Street. Let's go to Ron, Chesapeake, Virginia. Ron, what's going on?
Hi, how are you? Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, what's happening?
Well, I've been married for quite some time. About 7 years ago, I changed jobs, and I took a job that wasn't really me. It was my mistake. I took it. It made quite a bit of money, so I quit the job. But when I quit the job, I was always able, I'm well educated, I was always able to get another job. But I discovered I was in a tremendous amount of debt at the time. So I withdrew I withdrew a second retirement amount and gave it to my spouse because I did not know I was in so much debt. But eventually when I had issues with money, I couldn't get any assistance from her, so I had to take jobs making quite low amount of money. Then I fell into sin, and I left because I said, well, something is wrong. We had some physical altercations. And
well, you better get to what the real issue. Better help us get to that real issue. What you're dealing with here. So
the real issue is forgiveness. Because when I fell into into sin as a Christian, and I came back, you know, I repented from the divorce thing. I came back, and now I'm having issues of. Actually, I'm having issues of forgiveness. I think from the Lord too. And
what kind of sin did you fall into? What kind of sin were you involved with?
Adultery. Adultery.
Okay. And how long did that go on?
For about 6 months until I had to ease out of it. I mean, I had to get out of the situation I was in. I had my own apartment, and somebody said they didn't have and a lady moved in with me, and one thing led to another. And then I had to get out of that situation, which it took 6 months to get out of it. And get back to where I needed to be.
Hold on, we'll be back.
I am just so thankful for this weekend. It's been amazing to see how Satan messes up marriages in so many ways.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
Through Shelly's example, I have seen such transparency. It's just been amazing. I've just been able to let out all the yucky details.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey. Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Dallas, Texas, July 19th to the 21st. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Last year, after Every Man's Battle, I was so moved by the transformation that I saw, not only in myself, but in the guys in our small group and the other people that were there and the stories that I heard, that I decided to go ahead and join Club New Life as a contributor to that.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
You guys are doing God's work here. You're restoring marriages. You're giving people hope. It's just been such a blessing to me, and I just wanted to encourage you all. When you see something good that God's doing, just jump on that and help support that.
Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433.
Give your support to them if you can, and just help them do what God's doing here in the world.
Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back. Steve Arterburn here with Milan, Yerkovich, and Chris Williams, and your phone calls. Really glad you're with us here today. We are talking with Ron. And Chris, you want to start with Ron here? You had a couple of things you were thinking about.
Yeah, well, Ron, your story has a lot of components to it. There's a lot of things going on here, but I'll tell you what the theme of your story is, and it's chaos, which tells me that inside of you there's a lot of stress and anxiety that is all driven by uncertainty. Mm-hmm. And really, I'm wondering, like, what was the chaos in your home growing up?
Well, my father was a functioning alcoholic.
So can I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I got to jump in there right there because I just have to correct something. I've dealt with literally thousands of alcoholics, and I've never met a functioning one. Now, okay? So what I mean by this is, like, they may be able to go to work and earn a paycheck, but there are going to be severe places in their life where there is severe dysfunction, and the first place that shows up is relationships. Mm-hmm. If you can't function in relationships, you're not functioning. So I just kind of want to bust through that. So, but when his alcoholism showed up, how did it affect you? What happened to you?
Well, I was a little kid, and my oldest brother had to come to my mother's defense. He was my dad was arguing. He was pretty violent, and I wanted to be quiet. I wanted to be passive. I wanted to disappear.
Okay, so let me jump in again. I'm so sorry to do this. So stay there.
That's okay.
Ron, stay right there. When distress hits in my life, I want to be passive. I want to be quiet. I don't want to get involved in it. Yeah. That's it. That passive way of life is hurting you. It's damaging you. And so it's really important that you do a couple of things. Is that you do get into some counseling to look at healing some of those past wounds and hurts and fears, but you also need to engage in a process where you need to learn to trust yourself. Trust God and trust yourself by making wise decisions and moving forward in your life, which means that you got to be okay with making some mistakes along the way, but you get wise counsel from literature, from books, and from men and people around you to start moving forward.
And part of that is grieving and learning to grieve and acknowledge the power of that past, that it's still creating that influence upon
Milan,
him.
that's so important, yeah.
And we have to grieve that loss, get mad at that, get angry at that, cry about it. But we have to do that in relationship too.
Yeah.
We can't do that all by ourselves. We need to do it with people.
Yes, you're certainly correct. I've been, I've got a degree in urban education and been a social worker for many years, and threw myself in 100%.
Yeah.
And like you said before, no job was. If someone gives me a job, I jumped in it and didn't ask any questions. And people would ask me many times, "Don't you have a voice? Don't you have something to say?"
Yes, great insight.
All of the hard work. I was a guy that did the hard work, took the hard cases without question, and I guess it all came to a head when I didn't. I was unsuccessful in one of my attempts to work and do what I wanted to, and didn't get any support from my wife. That kind of triggered me to a backslide.
Yeah, but Ron.
But I can't blame. I'm not blaming her.
Ron, we got to be totally responsible for everything that we do.
Right.
And anytime you attribute something you did in reaction to your spouse, it really is part of not accepting full responsibility and part of blaming the other person, because nothing ever justifies adultery. Nothing.
No,
Nothing.
And
you went into a lot of detail over the stuff that happened with your wife before you ever got to, well, I had to ask you about, what happened there, and you got to the adultery part. So honesty is an issue here, that, being able to honestly look at yourself here and be open and honest about you with others. That really is the beginning. My wife calls it humbling down, and I think it's a great phrase for you. And I'm going to send you a copy of this book, Forgiving What You Can't Forget, because I think you need to forgive yourself. And when you do that and you experience God's forgiveness, then, I think some of the forgiveness from other people can start to take hold also.
And Steve, part of that passivity includes minimizing and dismissing.
Yeah.
Which is what you're speaking to, and that's very much part of the passivity. We don't want to resist, so we minimize and make it smaller than what it really is, but it's really very big.
Yeah. All right, I'm glad that you called. Hold on, 1-800 is New Life is the number to call. If anybody else needs some help, if you relate to this, please call us. Now, let's go over here and let's talk with Teresa from Cincinnati, Ohio. Listens on Sirius XM. Hi, Teresa. How are you?
Okay, thank you.
Sure. What's going on?
Been married almost 50 years. We're in our 60s. My husband has, I think, sexual addiction.
Why do you think that?
It manifests itself. In the past, there was an adultery many years ago, 15, and it manifests itself in when we're walking out, he drops back and looks at women.
Does he know that you know that that's what he's doing?
He does know. He does know, and he admits that I am exactly right, and he says he's fasted and prayed and read, and that he cannot. It doesn't change.
Hey, listen to me.
I have hope.
Listen. You got to stop right there. Him fasting and praying. That keeps the secret. See?
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what I'm saying? He has to be open with his problem before his problem is going to get better. Here he is saying, I am lusting after other women, and I'm going to be more spiritual, and that's going to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And then and so far you've been able to accept that as an answer. He's got to find some other men and be open with. James 5:16, confess your sins to one another. Pray for each other that you might be healed. He's not confessing. He's keeping it a big secret, and you're helping him do that.
Okay.
What do you think?
We are yes. We are isolated due to travel for work.
You know what? We're coming to Cincinnati with Every Man's Battle. He could go to that.
When?
In June.
Okay.
Isn't that amazing? We're coming to your town. Wouldn't it be sad we come to your town and he doesn't get the help that he needs?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like it's was a setup by God for you to call, because we hardly ever do Every Man's Battle in Cincinnati, but we're coming.
June 7th.
Yeah, June 7th, right around the corner. Can you imagine? We bring to you the very thing he needs, and he's able to give you an excuse not to come. He'll come if he wants help. You need to tell him, you know what, this is not an accident. You've got to go. Right?
Right. So how does it get there? How does I know it's his decision.
Yeah, but you can help him by calling, and we're going to put you on hold. You can talk with our folks about it, and you can say, hey, I called the radio program because I'm concerned about you, and wow, look at this. Their workshop that's helped thousands of men have integrity. You've told me you wanted it to change, but nothing worked. This will work. When he says, I fasted and prayed and it didn't work, then he's saying, that's all I could do. Here's something else he could do. It's coming to your town. Pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. God is awesome.
Yeah. So you hold on. We'll give you the information. Anybody else? Man, I tell you, we're coming to Cincinnati, June the 7th, Every Man's Battle. What a great, great time for you to get the help that you need.
Teresa said that it was her husband's choice. I kind of disagree with that. She needs to say, you need to go, period.
Yeah, if I'm your choice,
you
will
if I'm your choice.
We'll be back.
She said, we need to talk. She's asked me for the first time if I would consider myself a sex addict. I thought it was just about admitting the things that I had done wrong. I never had a clue that it was about redeeming our story. I thought it was just about coming clean on what I had done. I had no idea how to help her with her pain. She was a mess, I was a mess, and we got divorced. Going to EMB, surrounding myself with these other men, they accepted me for who I was and what I had done, but they challenged me to step up and do better. They'll be around other men who are not just pointing the finger, but willing to get in and wade through it with them, get in the trenches. They'll get hope from this workshop. Take my sweet wife and my story. We were divorced, remarried, and on our way to what I think will be the sweetest years of our lives. It's no longer simply about surviving. For the first time ever, we're thriving, we're enjoying where we're at.
Hey, listen, if you're struggling, we want to see you at the workshop. Give us a call, 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again. You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here, Milan Yerkovich, and now Larry Sonnenberg along with Chris Williams. Larry, how are you today?
Doing good, Steve. Thank you. Hey,
you got some good news for us, don't you?
Well, I got good news because I like sharing with people the good news they tell us about what New Life means to them and what it's done in their lives.
It's a testimony of good news, isn't it?
It is. This one says, I found New Life on the radio, and as I listened, I thought, what God are they talking about? The one I knew kept a big stick to hit us over the head, or worse, withdraw his love every time we messed up, which for me was the rest of my life. But here's the killer, or the clincher. New Life, simply put, is healing. Just that's that simple to this man. He was healed from his perception of who God was and how he worked, and he listened to our program, and our program taught him that New Life isn't a big stick God that's wanting to hit you over the head.
Yeah.
And I love that.
That's great. Yeah.
And if you like that, would you come alongside of us and help us to continue this ministry, help us to not only continue it, we need to reach more people in more ways, and we want to do all that. And one of the ways that we're really seeking help this month is for you to join Club New Life, our monthly giving program, $30 or more a month. And as much as we want you to join Club New Life because you love what we do and you love what God's doing through New Life, we know that saying thank you with a good thank you gift is an enticing thing. And what we have now is the best of the best. 8 books by all the different authors here at New Life. Healing is a Choice, Changes That Heal, Boundaries, Forgiving What You Never Forget, How We Love, Secrets Women Keep, Every Man's Battle, Intimate Deception. $129 if you buy them one at a time. But if you join Club New Life and commit to $30 or more each month, we'll send you that book to say thank you. And if you're a current Club New Life member, add $10 to your monthly giving. We'll send you that book. So
those books.
Those books. Yeah, that's
an entire library, really.
Yeah.
And they really are the best of everything that we've ever talked about here. And it's just our way of saying thank you for being part of something that's so, so important to us. We really count on our Club New Life committers, and it's there every month for us, and we can count on it. And so that's why we try to say thank you in such a big way. So anything else you want to add to that, Larry?
I do, but you got callers waiting, and that's what we're here for. So let's go back to callers.
Okay, let's do it.
Thanks, Larry.
And yeah, thank you. 1-800-NEW-LIFE if you can help us. Now, let's go to, how about we talk with Angela, St. Louis, Missouri. Hello, Angela. How are you? Are you there, Angela? Maybe Angela's not there. So we'll go.
Oh, I'm here.
Oh,
Hi.
here she
How
is.
are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you. What's going on?
Oh, good.
Uh-oh. I guess we're talking with Heather now. Angela went away. Heather, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
How can we help today?
Yeah, I'm calling in because I have 2 boys, 2 of my sons at home that are both found out that they're both doing porn. One is 21, one is 18. The 21-year-old has some minor disabilities. He's more like 16. He seems more like 16. And so we have covenant eyes on their computers, on their phones. I have my older son, the 21-year-old, in counseling every week because he also has bipolar disorder. So we have him in counseling. So we're trying everything. My husband is their stepdad. He's actually we are going to the same counselor with Bayside Church. It's a guy from Bayside Church. And he's trying to help out, too, with trying to meet with the boys like once a week, kind of have a men's group at home also. And so we're kind of not knowing exactly what to do next. The older one, the 21-year-old, it seems like he just doesn't really care. As you know, Covenant Eyes doesn't block everything. It just kind of, shows you what they're doing. It does block some things, but they still, if they just don't care, You know, you still see what's going on. And so we're just kind of up against the wall here, not knowing how to help these boys.
Yeah, okay. Well, Milan, you want to get us started here? What do you think she could do?
Well, two things. First of all, they're not boys anymore, and one of the things you may want to do is start thinking of them as young men and even referencing them as that, because a lot of times to moms and dads, we think of our kids as still little. We drive down the freeway and we look through the rearview mirror and we see our kids in the back seat with a Happy Meal, and really we need to be thinking of them as much older. Number two, I have great respect for your church. I know your church. I've actually spoken at your church. But we got to make sure that for an addiction problem and for sexual pornography, that you have the right counselor. And I don't know that all churches have the correct training for their counselors. And so one of the things you may want to do is begin to search in your area, and I know you have a lot of great counselors in the Sacramento area, for somebody and a counselor that specializes in sexual addiction. And I would suggest that would be an important start, because how do we as men control this part of our lives? Chris, what would you add?
Yeah, I the only thing I would do is add on to that. Yes, this is, Heather, this isn't your battle, this is their battle.
Yeah.
And it is okay, especially under your roof, for you to put restrictions and strong boundaries around the use of technology, electronics, especially in isolation or hidden places, for instance, their room. And and to Milan's point, we can say, hey, he's 21 going on 16 or 18 going on, whatever we want to say, but their age is their age. And to keep referring to them as, delayed in these ways keeps giving them an out. Well, I might be 21, but I'm still, it gives them an inbuilt excuse, and you want to remove those things, is what Milan's saying. And then, I'm just thinking, have they, have the resources to get to Every Man's Battle, get them to Every Man's Battle. I know that we have some guys in the area in Sacramento in our network that do great work in sexual addiction. And like Milan was saying, getting them to the right help, because this is a very difficult thing to treat, or it can be, and it needs very specific expertise in it.
And at a minimum, you should not pay one other penny toward internet service or for their phones or computers or anything like that.
That's good, yeah.
Really, that should be the instant consequence. You want to buy pornography, you go buy pornography. But if you continue to fund those things, you're buying their pornography for them.
Right.
So I would quit that.
The counselor that we do have is actually, he struggled with pornography too, and he has a men's group that my older son goes to, but he doesn't seem to be really opening up. Even in the counseling, he's not being honest about what's really going on when I see it on his report.
Yeah.
And so they are in a good, I believe they are in a good counseling. It's up to him to do it. I can't do it for him.
You're right.
I'll tell you, if I were you, I would not be paying for those services, and I would be saying, okay, so this hasn't caused you to open up. We're going to Every Man's Battle, and you get them into Every Man's Battle, and they go there, and they see what kind of help they can get there. If you need some help, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's what we're here for, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. If you need help or you can help us, either way, that's the number we'd love for you to call. Thank you, Milan. Thank you, Chris. Thanks to all of you. See you next time right here on New Life.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.